have all of these state officials who seem to think that Californians are not Americans, you know. Sorry, Gavin, I lived here my whole state. My whole life. I'm a fifth generation. My allegiance is not to California, it's to the United States. Every single thing that officials in California have told us was either a lie or misleading.
The LA County Police say that they have it under control. Carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know.
Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, assured us that this was caused by Tom Homan and ICE, that they were investigating people with criminal records. And then the ICE detention center was mobbed and there was no violence. But then she said, and everybody should listen to this, she said, we're not going to stand for this.
This was chaos that was started at Washington, D.C. On Thursday, the city was peaceful.
And what she was referring to was a normal ICE operation. Federal government has jurisdiction to go after people who are wanted by the federal government, as these illegal aliens were. So what did she mean by that? I guess she meant that she didn't call the police for 2 hours, the LAPD, and then she put them behind her as if they were, and they kind of went like this. I don't want to get fired, so I have to toe the party line. This is peaceful.
What did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot.
Then we had Representative Torres. I think she's a Guatemalan immigrant, so she should be very sensitive to these issues. She said to ICE, get the F out of L.A.
ICE get the F out of L.A. so that order can be restored.
Think about that. That was a member of the House of Representatives. What do you mean by that? The narrative was that it was all peaceful, which it never was, because they were throwing rocks from the beginning at passerby cars. Then Donald Trump said we might have to send in federal troops because they don't have enough, and then that escalated. What escalated at everyone were this commentary. This commentary from Hikem Jeffries a couple of days earlier, where he said he was going to dox the identification of ICE officers. I think that's illegal to do. I don't think we understand that the border, securing the border, was not that wasn't the end of everything. That was just the end of the beginning.
I spoke to a federal official recently who told me that the real number is probably closer to 50 million illegal aliens living in the United States right now.
And why they're wearing masks? They're wearing masks because they're trying to protect themselves and their families. Agents are getting doxxed every day. Their pictures and phone numbers being put on telephone poles.
People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line because people don't like what immigration enforcement is.
Why is it that in California, the officials act like federal law is optional? Los Angeles was on fire, literally and politically. And what did they say? We won't stand for this. But stand for what? For ICE doing their job? For enforcing warrants on known criminals? And when federal officers wear masks to protect themselves from being doxxed and threatened, we're told they're the problem. Something is deeply broken, and no one seems to care.
And then there was, as I said, the House of Representative member, Torres, threatening ICE, get the F out. And then there was Karen Bass, we won't stand for. And then we had our governor. And the subtext of that, Jack, is there was a poll taken a couple of weeks ago. How many Democrats think Gavin Newsom should be the presidential nominee in 2028? 2%. And then we had another poll in SurveyMonkey, and it surveyed 30 polls. And what was Gavin's approval rating? 27% favorability. So I think so what did he do about that? Well, the first thing he said was that ICE was cruel and reckless, and it was just going after quotas.
Get your hands off these poor people. They're just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes, been here 10 years.
What else are they going to do, Gavin? You guys let in 10,000 a day for 4 years, every day, 12 million. In a good day, they can deport maybe, 1,000, 1,500. If they were having a quota to match what you guys did, they'd need 8,000 a day So they're not even going to get near the number that you let in, you being the Democratic Party, unaudited. Then he attacked Trump for nationalizing the Guard. He dared Holman to arrest him for impeding federal officers.
Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy.
Gavin, you're an ignoramus. You really are. So what we're getting, bottom line, Jack, is we have something like the nullification crisis of South Carolina in 1832, or we're on the eve of a civil war, and we have all of these state officials who seem to think that Californians are not Americans, you know. Sorry, Gavin, I lived here my whole state. My whole life. I'm a fifth generation. My allegiance is not to California, it's to the United States. I pay my taxes to the United States, and I follow federal law when I go to Yosemite or I go down I-5. These are federal jurisdictions. They're not yours, and I feel much more comfortable being an American than one of your Californians. And if you want to talk about cruel, Gavin, cruel is what you are doing. Highest gas taxes, highest income tax, among the highest sales tax, $70 billion deficit, some of the worst schools in the nation, half the homeless, fifth of the people under the poverty line, 1/4 don't pay their power. I could go on. That's your state. So why don't you take care of that rather than grandstanding about illegal aliens that are breaking the law? So Hakeem Jeffries, who wants to dox ICE, and Karen Bass, the mayor, who she's not in Ghana, by the way. She's here. She seems to she likes to see LA burn. In other words, when she was there, it was burning, and now it's burning again, and she doesn't seem to be bothered by that. But she's not doing her job. Maybe the deputy mayor can step in. No, he can't. That's right. He's arrested, and he pled guilty to phoning in a threat. He was a deputy mayor of Los Angeles for public safety. The optics for all these people, Adam Schiff weighed in, Kamala Harris, she this is 2.0. The first one was, and these demonstrations are going to go on, and they're not going to stop. They're going to go on to election. That was the 2020. She's back again with more of that. They're advocating something that is not going to work. We just got a poll, as I said, 54%, even with this negative publicity, still support the deportations. 62% of Hispanics 3 weeks ago said that they support Donald Trump's policies the first 3 months. That was the highest ethnic group of any. So I don't know if you're going to get a wide-scale defection in the Hispanic, but most of them are going to think, God, I don't want that guy in my neighborhood. The optics, I wrote about this in Mexifornia 20 years ago. So basically, you'll watch all these optics, and it's kind of like back in CNN in 2000, mostly peaceful when you see the car burn. Well, they say most be peaceful while these cars are burning and they're defacing things. But the worst thing for the left is you have these illegal aliens, apparently, and they are throwing American flags on a fire, and they are destroying property, and they're waving the Mexican flag. So I said, oh, wow, this is really smart. You're waving the flag of the country under no circumstances you wish to return to, but you're so proud of it that you're waving it as long as you don't have to go back there. And then you are burning the flag that under no circumstances you would like to leave that country. That doesn't make a lot of sense. That does not make a lot of sense. And I think those optics are toxic. The big, beautiful bill, if you read it, has a provision, and they are adjudicating where it should be 2.5 or 3.5 tax on the $63 billion that these people that are, some of them are out in the street burning, send back to their relatives in Mexico, many of them on public support of some sort in the United States. So I think if I know Donald Trump, he got on the phone to her, because she hasn't said anything today.
Porque de ser necesario nos vamos a movilizar, porque no queremos que haya impuestos a las remesas de nuestros paisanos, de Estados Unidos a México.
He probably said something like this. It's 5% now. You want to keep talking? It's 10%. because I like to tax it. And you've got you say you're always bragging. Obrador said he sent 40 million, and we're not going to pay their housing, their education, their food, their health care costs, so they can send you back $200 or $300 a week of money that you won't spend on your own people. So we're going to tax it. And the more you talk and interfere in the internal affairs of the United States, the higher the taxes.
Yeah.
Optics are bad. Politics are bad. The people mouthing off are bad.
Are bad.
Polls are bad. Everything is bad.
The politicians talk tough until things get tough. They throw stones, not solutions. America is waking up, and the optics are getting worse by the day. Victor Davis Hanson asks the only question we need to ask. If the flag you're burning is the one you live under, and the flag you're waving is the one you fled from, what does that say about your message? And what does it say about the people who let it happen?